Are you an online coach struggling to get leads inside your coaching business right now? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what the problem might be. And spoiler alert, it's not going to be you needing a new website or needing the perfect website, the perfect graphic designs, the perfect pictures, color combinations, all of this stuff to actually get clients. Because a lot of the time, the clients and coaches that come to me have spent their hard-earned money on building a perfect website, having a nice color combination and everything perfect. And the reality is that doesn't necessarily equate to actually having money and having cash come into your business. I was literally on the call just last week on Friday with a online health and fitness coach who's building out this perfect website. But the biggest issue he's having right now in his business is he just doesn't have enough leads coming in. If you haven't got enough leads coming in, you going in and building a perfect website, no one's going to see that website. So it's completely oblivious and it's completely useless, right? So I really want to go through this in this video, really go through a bit of a reality check, right? And actually go through more of one kind of big thing I wish I knew when I was a personal trainer many years ago, because ultimately I wasted a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, a lot of my focus spending it on the wrong things, which wasn't driving me forward and wasn't succeeding. And I would hate to see the same thing happen to you as well, right? And that's why I really want to go through that, because the reality is actually rather simple. I've worked with hundreds of coaches. I've generated millions in sales for fitness coaching programs just from organic content and social media. So one of the biggest things I've realized in that time frame is quite literally practically no one buys from a website. Practically no one buys from a perfect website. No one buys from the perfect landing page, a perfect kind of built out website, especially when it comes to a personalized program for a coaching program. It can work for bigger businesses with bigger resources and bigger ad spend, but the reality is it's not 2010 anymore, where people are searching and trying to find a website to get course booking in. So that's one of the biggest things we need to keep in mind, because even if you think back and if you relay back to any big purchases you've made in the last 2 to 5 years, if it was a car, if it was an expensive bit of clothing, if it was a watch, whatever it might be, sure, they probably had a website, but did you buy specifically that super expensive thing from the website, or did you want to try and get some reassurance either by reading the reviews or by going and speaking to someone in person, or seeing it, being able to kind of see how the car looks or see how the item that you want to buy looks and feels, and feel reassured? You know, if you're buying something super expensive and super luxury, a website is good to have, but you also need to be able to reassure people that they're making the right decision. And a lot of the time when coaches first start into building their coaching business, they also just haven't got enough data. They haven't got enough data points on what actually works and what to include on our website. So they include random stuff that no one cares about, stuff about their check-ins or what app they're using to coach clients. And all of these stuff, like potential buyers and potential prospects, even if they land on the website, they're going to see it. It's going to sound like gibberish and it's going to sound like alien lingo to them, and they're going to zone out. Which is why with our clients, one of the biggest things we look at initially to actually move things forward is not having a perfect website. It's putting out really good content that connects at a deeper level with the people they want to work with. And once that content connects, having really impactful conversations in DMs or on the phone over Zoom to actually handle any concerns your prospects may have, cover any objections, and move people in towards booking a sales call to work with you down the line, right? That's the biggest stuff we look at the beginning, because the reality is you have no idea when you're first starting out what kind of concerns are people you want to have have, what objections they have, what beliefs, what's stopping them from working with you in the first place. So you can't guess that. You can't go on ChatGPT and just guess your way into it. You have to be able to speak to people. You have to be able to put really good content out, and that's how you're going to be able to move and drive the success of your coaching business forward. And there's 3 things we need to look at instead. So if we block out a website moving forward, if we block out the need to push for a website, if we block out the need to pay a graphic designer or a web designer crazy amounts of money to build a website, and we reinvest all of that time, all of that energy, all of that focus, and potentially money into actually doing 2 things. One is just getting really good at content, getting really good at effectively capturing attention on social media. You need to get to a point where your content able to get you qualified followers coming in, people engaging on your Instagram, people leaving genuine comments, people genuinely saving your content because they find it valuable. If you do those things, then when you do put out the offers for your coaching program, you can actually start getting sales much quicker and much more ethically. And think about it, like social media and content and building a coaching business that way round is no different than what people used to do 100 years ago, 200 years ago. It's just now the method and the way things are delivered has drastically changed, right? Back in the day, I wasn't born 100 years ago, so I have no idea what exactly how things were, but I can take a guess, right? If people wanted to buy a service, they probably would have spoken to the person and would have understood if he can help them, and if they were selling eggs or milk, whatever it might be, they would build that reciprocity. They'll understand that a person can genuinely deliver on that program or service or whatever it might be, or product, rather, not program, but product, and then they'll pay him, and there'll be an exchange in services. The person gets the product, and then the customer, the person gets a product, so the customer gets a product, and then the seller gets the money, right? Equal exchange. That's effectively all social media is when it comes to building a coaching business. But most coaches freak themselves out. They get anxious, they get stressed because they simply do not stick around long enough to see things actually work out in the long run. One of the best things you can do is just get obsessive with posting content that's genuinely solving problems for the people you're going to work with, and then also post content to grow your page. And those 2 are completely different, by the way. One is going to be hyper-specific problem-solving content, so you're going to be talking about the things that people struggle with, one hyper-specific problem, and how you can solve it. The other content will be more trendy, more stuff in the news, stuff that's going on. You're going to add your 2 cents to it. And then off the back of this, you would be able to grow your coaching business as well. If you do those 2 things, it's almost physically impossible. You can't grow your coaching business. You can't make an awful lot of money and massively succeed as a byproduct, right? It's so simple if you do that. I'm not saying it's easy, but you just need to trust the process. And most coaches actually have this red shiny object syndrome. They look at a website, they look at LinkedIn, they look at Google ads, they look at funnels, all of these different things, email lists, and they try and go to different places. And sure, an email list can work for someone with a big audience or someone with a lot of followers and a lot of traffic coming in. But for most coaches, if you have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 followers, this is quite literally a distraction and a waste of your time if you want to grow fast with coaching and you want to drive the success forward in your business as well. That's my 2 cents on why you should be putting off a website. Don't get me wrong, when you're making your first 5, 6, 7K per month in your business, it might be worth looking into having something better than just a Calendly link in your bio. But when you're first starting out, you don't need to worry about that because it's not necessarily going to move the needle forward. It's almost very similar to how most fitness coaches would say when it comes to a fat loss client, right? A website at the start is almost what the fat loss injections, the Mounjaro injections or whatever they are. It's almost similar to that. It's a distraction. It's not a fast fix. It's a shiny object. It looks like a fast fix, but it's not going to do anything quickly. It's almost like a business card. They're not going to sell. They're just going to answer any questions. They're not really going to capture details and data because most people just get that wrong. Most coaches get that wrong at the start as well. So In a nutshell, to summarize, what you want to be doing with all of this is to have your content to build trust, pull people in, then use that content to generate leads, and then turn those leads into high paying clients. And you can all do that through Instagram. Is how I've personally built a 6-figure per year online business at the age of 21. Well over £250,000 collected in just my own businesses over the last few years, just from Instagram content and just from delivering a really, really good product for the people that come in. So don't get distracted by the fonts, by the colors, by all of this, and start obsessing about getting attention on social media and converting that into leads and high paying clients. If you do that, it's almost physically impossible. You're not going to drive the success of your coaching business. And look, I will link down below of this video an absolute goldmine of a video to watch next of exactly how he took Dylan from zero to his first £5,000 fully online in his coaching business, without having a website, without having any complex funnels, without even running ads, just from having really good content and being able to convert that content into clients. If you want to watch the entire case study video so you can grow a coaching business just like Dylan, just like Lauren, just like hundreds of my clients have, there will be a link that you can watch that video so you can apply the principles and grow completely for free as well.